Hey, it's morning here in China, and that means it's time to make another video. My name is Jay, I'm the American expat living here in China, and this is my son. Say hi.
Hi.
Good job. Anyway, stay tuned, we'll have more for you. So today's video is going to be covering the top 5 things that you should do before you come to China. Now this could be, I guess for any reason, if you're coming here as a tourist, if you're coming here to work, to live, for any real purpose, here are my top 5 things that you should do before you come to China. And bear with me here, I'm driving. I know this video is going to be jumping around a whole lot. I'm going to be all over the place. A second ago I was in bed, now I'm in the car. Just don't worry about that. I'm on vacation, kind of. Well, I guess it's more a vacation from my wife. We're visiting family and that sort of thing out in Anhui province, so... But today I'm driving around in the countryside, talking about the top 5 things that you should do before you come to China. So these things can go in any order, really. Some of them will be more important than others, and I'll point that out if I think it's a particularly important thing. But number 1, let's start with this. Your phone. Your phone may not work in China. So my recommendation, and I'm going to put a link here where you can find some information. You're going to want to find out if your particular phone model will work on the networks here in China. You might be thinking, well, they have iPhones or they have whatever phones in China. Surely it'll work. Well, not necessarily. There are many different models of iPhone, and I'm not talking about 11 and 6S and all that stuff. I mean, within just the iPhone 11, there's going to be a number of different models depending on what carrier you bought it on, whether it's made for international use or whatever, you know. So you're going to want to check to see if it'll actually work in China. And sometimes it will work in China, but it won't necessarily work on every single network. So you're going to want to know that before you go. That's the number 1 thing. If you're coming here to live, well, you may want to just buy another phone that does work. But if that's the case, my recommendation to you is to wait until you get here, because China has really amazing phones and they're not particularly expensive. And if you just want a cheap phone to be able to do stuff like basic things, you're not really into gaming or taking fancy photos with your phone, well, then you can really go cheap here and get something that will do everything you need it to do without costing you very much. And then you can keep your American phone or whatever phone for gaming and whatnot. So yeah, the phone. Check to see if it works on the network, and if not, then maybe consider buying one here. I can make some recommendations. Xiaomi, they make some good phones. I don't know if I'd get Huawei because, well, if you want to have any normal apps from the West, you're probably not going to be able to use those on a Huawei phone. Even though they're really high quality phones, I'm not really particularly worried that they're going to spy on me. Of course, I don't work for the government or anything, but I really don't think they're spying on me. I don't have a Huawei phone, by the way. I have a Samsung, but yeah, Chinese phones. Vivo, you can get a really nice one of those. As I said, Xiaomi. If you really want a Huawei, you can get one. They're high quality. You can get some really nice pictures with some of them. Yeah, they're changing all the time too, so I won't recommend a specific model. But yeah, there's some nice phones out here. You should check them out. Yeah, definitely phone. Big issue when you come to China. Okay, so the second thing, after you've gotten your phone situation figured out, you're going to want to get a VPN, which, you know, virtual private network. If you like getting on Facebook, if you like getting on YouTube, which I assume you do because you're watching this on YouTube, most likely. I don't think I'm not uploading it on anything else right now. But yeah, if you like those things, if you like Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, you're going to need sorry, my son's talking to us back here. You're going to need a VPN. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get on it. There are fortunately tons and tons of VPNs available for free even. Be careful about the paid ones, because I've learned from a friend that a lot of them end up not working in China. The free ones usually do, though, for whatever reason. So yeah, I can put a list of them in the comments so that you guys can figure out which ones to get. Just get as many as you can, I guess. Load up your phone with VPNs. So, because sometimes they don't work, sometimes during sensitive periods they won't work. I've got a really good one myself. I can't pronounce the name. It's from Hong Kong. Of course, I've got a business that requires me to have a VPN, so that's a little different. But anyway, the free VPNs, there are numerous, but I will warn you that once you come to China, if you don't already have a VPN, then you won't be getting a VPN, because you'll not be able to get on the Google Play Store. The Apple one, I think you can still probably get a VPN as long as you don't click on the thing for the App Store to switch over to the Chinese App Store. Because once you do that, then all the VPNs are gone and it's they're all blocked. So that's another thing. Don't do that. Don't switch to the Chinese App Store, because you'll lose out on a bunch of apps. But yeah, if you like watching YouTube, like I said, if you like Google searching, if you like communicating with family, unless you want to tell them all to get the Chinese communication apps or something, then you're definitely going to want a VPN. And like I said, get it before you come to China, otherwise you won't be getting it. Surprise, I'm not in the car anymore. I'm walking around in the rice paddies and fields. And now let's talk about number 3. And this one I'm just going to call apps. So there are 3 things that you need to keep in mind. The first one that I want to recommend that you download is WeChat, which is used for pretty much everything. So you use it to pay at the store, you use it to pay for your taxi ride, you can buy tickets on it, pay for your phone, you name it, you can do it with WeChat. You can even get movie tickets. I mean, there's no limit to what you can do. The main thing for this one, though, is communication. People in China don't call each other on the phone. Instead, they use this app for voice calls, video calls, pretty much every type of communication. They keep up with their friends. You can think of it in a way as like Facebook, I guess. It's not Facebook. There's nothing in the West that is really equivalent to this. It's like if you took every kind of social media app and pay app and whatever and mixed them all into one, that's WeChat. So you're going to want to download that before you come to China. You'll want to link it to your passport so that you can get money on it and actually use it. It's very convenient. Most Chinese people don't go around using cash. They use WeChat, and it works pretty well. If you're going to be living here, you want to link your bank account, again, your ID, everything to it so they can use it. And then for the second app is Alipay. Same thing. I mean, it's not the same sort of app. This one is specifically just for money. It's accepted everywhere, pretty much. I don't know when the last time was that I went to a grocery store where they didn't accept Alipay. In China, it's called Zhifubao. People will be laughing because my Chinese is so bad. But it doesn't matter. The store clerk understands. Maybe you're saying, how does this guy not speak Chinese if he's lived in China so long? I can speak a little bit. Don't worry about that. Even if the pronunciation is really, really bad. But anyway, Alipay, that one is also very useful. You can use it to pay for your metro ride, for the subway. I'm not talking about the restaurant, although it does work at the restaurant too. Don't get me wrong. You can use it at Subway, and they do have Subway in China. Works for the metro. Get on the bus. Get, I don't know. There's so many things you can use it for. Everywhere, pretty much everywhere, you can use this app to pay. Again, link your ID, link your bank accounts, and then you're in the world of convenience. No more cards, no more cash, no more coins. Very useful. And the third app that I want to talk about is the Maps app. You're going to want to get Baidu Maps if you have an Android phone. If you have an iPhone, then you're in luck. Because Apple Maps works in China and it will be in English. So you can use that to get around everywhere. Just put the location you're trying to get to on the phone and tell it how you want to get there, public transportation or whatever. It'll tell you what bus, it'll tell you what train, and you'll be able to get there no problem. If you have an Android phone, well, then you're in trouble. Because, well, I think the last time, obviously, Google doesn't work in China. And the last time that Google Maps was updated, I think, was 2011. And a lot has changed in China since 2011. So it's pretty much useless. So you're going to want to get Baidu Maps. Now, there is one problem with that app. It's in Chinese. So you're going to probably want to start practicing with it to figure out how it works. You're going to need to put locations in Chinese and be able to pick them out on a list. Yeah, you might have to figure out a few things in Chinese, but it's very useful once you know how to navigate it. It'll tell you what train, it'll even tell you how long you have to wait sometimes for the bus to arrive. Very useful app. If you're driving like me, it warns you about, when the speed limit cameras are, or red light cameras, that sort of thing, so you can drive fast when you want, or when you can, I should say. I don't speed limit. I do. Now, eventually, I can probably put together a video with all the apps that you should download, because there's a bunch of them. Most of them are for entertainment purposes, but there are some very useful apps like what we've talked about here, and I can go ahead and put links for them in the video so that you can click on them, and if I can figure out how to make it work, that is. If there's no link, it's because I don't know anything about making videos. Obviously, I'm a novice. But if it is there, then I figured it out, and there you can get the apps. If you're in the Google Play Store or whatever, I'll have a list of them either way in the description. So, yeah, get those apps. Get them before you come to China. Don't wait till you get here to find out you need them to communicate or whatever. Oh, back to the car for number 4. So, you're coming to China, especially if you're coming here to live. I recommend bringing clothes. Now, obviously, you're going to bring clothes. I mean, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? I mean that Chinese clothes are probably not going to fit you. So if you decide that you need to go shopping, well, you're going to find out real quick that the sizes are, well, they're much smaller than Western sizes. I'll put it that way. So you're saying, well, what do you mean? What kinds of clothes? All kinds of clothes. I'm talking shoes, socks, pants, shirts, everything you can think of. You better bring some, because it's going to be really hard to find sizes that fit. Unless you're really thin, which obviously I am not. Yeah, clothes. Now, there are some places, and I can probably make a video. You're going to need WeChat and all of that to be able to find them, but I do happen to know some people personally who have stores that you can buy from on Taobao. Now, it can be difficult to navigate Taobao because, well, and you're probably wondering, what in the world is Taobao? Taobao is like eBay, essentially, or Amazon, something like that, but a Chinese version of it. And there is a shop that I know of that has clothes specifically for Westerners, size-wise. And maybe on another video I can make instructions on how to find it so that you can buy clothes here. But for the time being, you better bring extra because, well, when the time comes that you do need to buy clothes, they're not going to fit. For example, I wear a size 11 shoe, and, well, a size 11 shoe in China is almost impossible to find. I mean, yeah, you can find their size 11, but my size 11, when you do the conversion, it's very, very hard to find. So again, I have to go online and do some searching. But like I said, I do know some places where you can get them. It's sometimes difficult. They don't always have it, but like I said, I'll do another video on that one. So number 4, bring clothes. Bring extra clothes because you're going to need them. Surprise again. I'm not in the car. I'm not in the field. I'm in the center of town. Welcome to Hongxing. That's Red Heart in English. Again, my Chinese is terrible. So number 5. You can see it's very busy here today. Chinese New Year is just a couple of days away. Not regular New Year, as I said, Chinese New Year. And anyway, on to number 5. This one I'm just going to call electricity. China uses 220 volt power. So you're going to want to make sure that your stuff works. If you come from a place that uses 220 volt power, then you're fine. If you're like me and you come from the United States, we have 120 volt power, and you better check your stuff to make sure it works. Don't just assume that it's going to be fine, because then you'll be like me. I plugged my Xbox in for the first time here, and yeah, the power brick blew up. Don't just assume that things work. I mean, usually your laptops will work, your phone chargers are going to work, but don't just assume like me, because you don't want to plug in something really expensive and watch it burn up, like my Xbox. Well, fortunately, my Xbox didn't blow up. The power brick did, and it was kind of difficult finding a replacement because at the time they weren't really selling them here. But yeah, don't make that mistake. You don't want your stuff to burn up. The plugs themselves are generally not an issue. They have these universal plug things here where plugs from almost every country can fit. It looks like this, if you're wondering. If it looks like your plug might fit into it, it probably will. It's designed to fit almost anything. The only problem that I've ever run into was I have a 3-prong plug for my laptop that I bought in the United States. That one, they didn't have anything that would fit into. For a long time, I wanted to just clip the ground terminal off. Yeah, I kept looking online to see if it would damage it. Finally, I did manage to find a plug that it could go into in Beijing. Probably a good idea to get some sort of an adapter before you come to the United States. Before you come to China. Check all of your stuff. Make sure it'll work on 220 volt. You don't want to plug it in, as I said, have it burn up. Get the adapter. If you come from a country that has 220 volt, then you're fine. Yeah, electricity. Check your stuff before you come. Well, that pretty much wraps up this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, if you found it at all useful, as I say, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. See you next time.